Hello and welcome to Creative View Podcast. It's a podcast about knitting and crocheting and about life and what's going on. Welcome back. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. So I'd like to show you some things that are going on, and also I'm having a trunk show for Knitting Fever, Mirasol yarns and so forth, and I thought that you might like to see the things. It's always so fun to see things that other people are making and doing. So this beautiful, see, I have my tag on. You know, I never would have thought that this was a good color for me, but I actually like it a lot. And I didn't think that I would like the little baubles, but like I said on a prior podcast, it's so different when you actually try something on and it becomes part of you and you have a completely different feel about it. So I'd like to show you some of the beautiful, amazing things and a few of the things that I am doing. And I think on the last podcast I was doing the little Ella Ray Lace Merino Chunky, and I chose to do the Cozy Soft, which is a really nice chunky yarn, and the Lace Merino Chunky, and I mixed them together. Just beware that you don't want to get that. You want it to look like that. So to do what they call a jogless stripe and to make a smooth transition, when you change colors, you just do your first row, and then the second row you slip the first stitch. I don't know why I had trouble, so I think I'm going to put a little decal or something on that to kind of hide that, because I'm not real proud of that, but I am happy to use it as a teaching point to help someone else. So what else have I been working on? I think I'll do crochet first. This is a pattern that I've done before. It's called Azalea Offset Shell Cow. It was called Azalea because she used a Louisa Harding yarn called Azalea. And I have done this in Azalea. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. And the shell is offset, which makes it really neat, and it's very easy to memorize because you do 5 double crochets and then you have your 5 double crochet shell, and you go in the very first double crochet and do 5, and that gives you that offset look. And what, pray tell, am I crocheting with? This is a Lanagato yarn called City, and it's like a blue with white. It's a cotton acrylic blend, and I grabbed some other colors so that you can see. It's a worsted weight, and a Lanagato is a Italian yarn, 30% cotton, nylon, and acrylic. Oh, and 14% mohair. So you know I love blending yarns. I love what I call marrying. So these beautiful little things are called palettes, and they look like, they come like this, and they're just very fine, and use them as a carry-along yarn. And you know, my mind is kind of always going, and that was a very hard thing for my husband when we got married. I remember watching a Christmas movie, and this guy said to his girlfriend, I don't even know what you're saying half the time, or even understand what you're saying. That is how he was with me. Now he's more familiar with me that my brain goes. But your little carry-along yarn is what gives you zip and pizzazz and everything. And I thought, what if you picked a day and you had a carry-along trait? And you said, okay, all day long, I'm going to be grateful. Or all day long, I'm going to be really attentive to other people. It could really change your day. It could really change your day. maybe we should give it a try. So, because this is wide, and I tried making it thinner and it just didn't look right because it messed up the pattern, I was thinking this would be a really neat vest. I mean, the more and more I get into these yarns, I want to wear them. I want to, you know, wear my art, as the saying goes. So maybe I can design a vest, and, you know, we'll see. But it is a fun pattern, and it's, like I said, very easy to memorize. And thank you, Darlene Joyce, for your pattern. So we'll put that down there, and I found a YouTube video on doing baby bonnets, and I wish I knew the name. I'll try to find it so I can tell you. You do the post stitch, which I think is fun. And so I chose some different yarns, and excuse me for all my meandering and moving. I chose all in an Aran weight, Ella Ray Lace Merino. And I don't think I showed these, but maybe I did, and if I did, I'm sorry. Katia Barbie, which is a cotton yarn, kind of woven. And Debbie Bliss Cashmere Merino Aran Tonal. I used the same hook, and the funny thing is I got different sizes, and I really like the one in the Cashmere Merino Aran. I just like the way it looks. I like the tonal effect. I like the dusty rose color. The one in the Lace Merino Aran is smaller, but look, how cute is that for a little girl? And I guess if you wanted it for cooler weather, you could line it. And then the one with the cotton would be really cute for, looks like I didn't weave in a thread, spring or summer. They're all cute. Sometimes when I make something and I'm just having so much fun, I don't want to stop. And, you know, I always talk about my little grandson, Tobin, on the podcast, because little kids, they just bring so much to your life. And there's a study now showing that grandparents who spend time with their grandkids have an improved life, and I believe it. So every time he comes, he'll say, Grandma, we have show and tell at school this afternoon, and we have to take something that's pink. And last time he took those crutches, he found these crutches behind the back door. He turned them upside down, and I helped him adjust the bar, and he made stilts out of them. And he's, you know, walking around the house, and I'm behind him, and he says, I'm going to the yarn shop with you. So we put him in the car. We had to mix together red and white paint and make them pink, and we painted the tops pink so they would qualify for show and tell. So when my daughter came in the front door to pick him up, he said, Mom, I want to show you something. And he thought she followed us out back to the parking lot, but she didn't. So we carried them through the shop to the front door. And I mean, if you would have seen her face, like, this is not what she was expecting. And he's still walking out on the pavement. And I said, hey, God gifted you with a little inventor. Embrace him. And she said, Tobin, are you planning on taking that to show and tell? And he's like, well, of course. So very funny, right? He makes me laugh. Every morning my husband makes me a smoothie with frozen fruit, carrots, different things, and it's really funny because they can taste different every day. And I tasted one the other morning, and I thought, ooh, I don't think this is one of his best, but I said, Tobin, why don't you taste this? And then you can rate Grandpa like 1 to 10. If 10 is like, amazing, and one is just so-so. Well, he and my husband are always at each other, bantering back and forth, and Tobin tastes it, and he says, I'm going to give this a 000. So they just make you laugh. They're so funny at that age, and I mean, we should just enjoy them. But getting back to these bonnets and how fun they were, they had show and tell yesterday, and it was on white things. So we were saying, well, what could somebody take? And just to be funny, we said a shark's tooth or a rabbit's foot. So he came today, and I said, what did the children bring? And he said, well, the one girl brought a real shark tooth. Wow. And another girl brought a real rabbit's foot. And then he says that one of the girls brought, what did she bring? Something. And he said, she just loves to do that because it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying. I thought, that's how I felt about these bonnets. It's just so satisfying. So, on with the show. So, I think I have some more crochet things, but I guess I'll just kind of take things in sequence. You know that I like to marry yarns, and sometimes you have a yarn that you wonder why you bought it or how you got it, and that is kind of how I was with this. Like, I don't think this is going to sell, and so I found a pattern called the 4-hour hat. The number 4-hour hat. I don't see the name of a designer. ForYouWithLove.com. You could use that as a template to do any bulky hat, but I put Queensland Perth with it, and I ended up with this. So I feel like, and you know, it's a shame because I don't think you can see the rich dark stitches. I don't think you can, but it really livened it up and turned it into a completely different fabric, one that I like and I'm happy with. So if you have some fingering weight yarn around, you could add it to, and this yarn was, I think, a worsted weight, so by adding the fingering weight, it equated to about a bulky. And then let's see what else. I crocheted I've been talking about hats with brims and how you really get a nice brim, and I found this pattern called the Beanie Brim Cap by Hannah Levine, and I just took a chunky blue wool, just a standard skein, about 140 some yards, I think, and I have plenty left, and it's really nice. There are a few mistakes in the pattern or areas that aren't clear, and I wrote to her, but I think it's easy enough to figure out. The hat was too loose, so I went around the back and did 3 single crochet, skip 1, 3 single crochet, skip 1, and that still wasn't enough, so I did 2 single crochet, skip 1, 2 single crochet, skip 1, and that's just perfect. So I would like it to maybe look a little bit more outdoorish to go with a coat, so I'm trying. And that's how the pattern starts out. You do the pose. I'm trying Debbie Bliss Riva in this brown color. I know I don't sell a lot of brown, but I like brown, and I like brown on myself. And so next podcast, I'll show you how it turns out. I also am crocheting some slippers, and I'll show you those the next time. So, on with the Mirasol yarns. This is called the Fioral. I had my 2 crocheting students in just a while ago, the 2 girls, Emma and Gracie, and they love Disney. So while we were crocheting, we were doing Disney trivia. And one of the questions was, what is Cinderella's name? And they didn't know that it was Ella. She was Cinderella, because she sat by the cinders. This sweater is really, really pretty. It's done in a super bulky called Usha. And it's a merino yarn. And it really looks gorgeous. But you know, it has to look good when you put it on. And I'm really wondering if it doesn't look better on thinner people. I really hate it that I've gained weight, whether it's menopause or what. But I noticed when I put it on, I wasn't crazy about it. On me, I need to lose some weight, and easier said than done. But I think it's a gorgeous sweater, and maybe something in my future. So that is available on knittingfever.com, and you can also get the patterns on Ravelry. And they also sent a men's sweater in Sulka, and I had talked about Sulka before. They have a new designer called Jody Long. There's his signature. And Sulka comes in 3 weights. It comes in a fingering, a sport, and a bulky. Whoa, we're just going to have an avalanche here. This sweater is heavy. It is really heavy. It's gorgeous. Now, what I'm seeing is as a brilliant blue. You're seeing as a washed out blue. So, blue is one of those colors that just doesn't really film well. It feels great. It feels warm. This is another Usha sweater, and I think this is super cute. So that looks like that could be a quick knit. There's the pattern. I do think it would be nice on the pattern front if they showed you the front and the back. So nowhere in the pattern does it show you the front, but it would be nice. So that is that one, and that is called, I'm sorry, I should have told you the name. That is called Usha sweater. Oh, okay. After I opened this, I just had a woman in the shop with a sweater on these exact colors. So this is made with Sulka Legato, which is the fingering weight. It is super soft. Again, you can find these patterns on their website. It's interesting because I had read a lengthy article, to seam or not to seam. That is the question. And a lot of what I read made sense, that were not tubes, but one of the biggest thing is that stitches stretch out. So if you did a stockinette scarf and hung it up, it would gradually begin to stretch. Seams give stability to those, to the stretching. They structure it, and you know, it makes a lot of sense. I know once you do a sweater in the round, it's really hard to think of doing individual pieces, but it is something to think about. So that was that sweater, leaflet M5219, called the Fernanda cardigan. Isn't it so fun getting all these projects that other people have made? And they also sent 2 other big pieces. Avalanche. This also is very heavy. It's also made with sulca, and it is actually very pretty, and you just feel like you should snuggle up in it. This is the pattern. One of the customers, we were talking, and how models used to smile and look so alive, and kind of a lost look in her face. And she said, why should I want to knit that and wear that if she's not happy? But I think models just do what they're told, right? So I wanted to show you a puppet that I made as a Christmas gift. This was in one of the Interweave Holiday Knits Tradition books from, I think, 2007. One night at 12 o'clock, I stayed up to finish him, and I got to bed at 3. Did you ever do that? I did him with Babe Self Cotton worsted and then some scrap yarn that I had around the house to do stripes, and some fuzzy yarn that I found. And when I first did his fire breathing, he was like out to there, and I said, that's just too silly. So my grandson picked the gold for the spikes. I think it was a good pick. He loves it. He can't wait until Christmas to get it. Now he wants me to do a black and red with black spikes and a red mouse, so we'll see. I need to hurry up. It might be quicker to crochet it, right? And then this is also done out of Usha. It's one of their patterns. I think it looks lovely. They also sell these snap-on pom-poms that are a great idea. Let me tell you, I've had quite a run-in with pom-poms. I've discovered that I am not the world's best. I would be the 000 rating on doing pom-poms. Isn't that pretty? I think I showed you the project that the lady's dog chewed up, and he was a bottle cover, I think a whiskey bottle cover, a Santa face. Well, his 2 boots were 2 big black pom-poms and 2 little ones, and his hands had pom-poms. And I worked on that thing for hours and hours and hours. And I had told Karen that she could pick it up on Monday. And Sunday night, I tried to do these pom-poms. Oh, this pattern is caught in a staple. What an absolute disaster. And if you get out a pom-pom maker, most scissors will not cut through the yarn. And they don't have a strong enough point to get in under the yarn. And I'm thinking if you use dressmaker shears, you would really dull them. And when you do your pom-pom and you tie it, if you don't get it extremely tight, when you place your pom-poms, you can just pick the yarn right out. It was terrible. It was terrible. I was working on it almost right up to the minute she came in. And she did find the pattern. There's a vintage pattern site. I think it's called Vintage Treasures. And she found it on there. And I had a picture of it, but I might not know right this minute where the picture is. Let's see. He wasn't the kindest looking Santa. He almost had kind of like a Grinch face, and she still had the top. And you know, some things are just an act of love, and there he is. So he's missing his belt yet and his buttons, It's not a very good picture because I have a white object there, but there's his white pom-poms. And once he has his little crocheted belt, little curtain ring fixture, he'll look a lot better. There's my dog looking so much better. I have to tell you, I think I told you I found this Ultimate Pet Nutrition. This has changed this dog. This dog is now running around our house and jumping off the back step like nobody's business. Instead of being so bowed and arthritic that a little step intimidates him, his fur has gotten so shiny and sleek. And he used to have like a sticky, like greasy residue and smell really doggy, and I would have to wash my hands every time I pet him so I could knit. That's gone away. This is a customer of mine and her market bag that she made, and she did that with Ella Ray Phoenix and Queensland Cairns. Great color contrast. And this is what Cairns looks like. It's a cotton acrylic. Because the Phoenix is a thinner weight yarn, you do get that sag, but some people like that because it's roomier and not as rigid. It's a great pattern. It really is. So this is my latest commission, that a lady wants a Christmas sock done exactly like this. These are the old time socks where you seam them, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to seam it. I'm going to do it in the round. So let me show you this jacket that they sent. Now I don't carry this yarn, but it looks very interesting. Look at this. This films like a washed out honey. This is actually like a rich kind of coppery color. Look at that thing. Wow. I would love to make myself something like that. And I'm going to show you a few more things and then I have to quit because I'm keeping my grandkids tonight, and then I'll do another podcast and finish it later. So this is a beautiful yarn called Umina. Luscious Royal Alpaca and Extra Fine Merino Blend. It's listed as an Aran weight that apparently it blooms after it's knitted. And now that I see this sweater, I can see that because it definitely doesn't look like a thinner DK weight. But I really like this garment. This looks so cozy and classy and comfortable. So what else do you need, right? That is a pattern of the coat. And of course, you could make that any length. One of the ladies is doing the big Usher jacket that looks like the big gentleman's oversize. And one of the other customers said, look, if you're going to do stripes, alternate the width so you don't get a bumblebee effect. And that's what they did there. I am so happy that they started sending patterns with the trunk show. There is the cow and the hat pattern. Whoa, sorry. And well, there we go. And there is the sweater. Very pretty, right? So I think I'm going to have to close because it's getting late, and come on and show you some more things later. I hope that all of you are getting in the Christmas spirit. It does only come once a year, and it is like a whole different thing when you have little children and every day they're counting down and they're excited. It's a little different when you don't have that, but I really do think Christmas season is a gift with, oh, I'm just noticing that big moon out the window. last night when I was driving home, it was a huge full moon that looked like it was down on the earth. It was so beautiful. I couldn't stop looking at it, and just amazing that God made things like that. And then the fall skies are so pretty. So I guess I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you again soon. And when I do the second part, I'll announce the winner of the yarn and tell you about the next giveaway. Thank you for all your comments and concerns. I've tried filming in a different place. I don't have that big light over my head, and hope it's brighter, hope it looks better, and I'll be back soon. I love all of you. Thank you for joining in, and God bless you, and shine, baby, shine.